Greetings, everyone. I am Dr. Wolf, and I wanted to talk today about why I still don't have a cell phone. Shocking, I know. I mean, most everyone in first world countries has their own phone by now. In fact, even most people in second world and even third world countries have access to a cell phone by now. So why don't I? Well, it's not for the lack of my family and even my friends trying to get me to have a cell phone.
Seriously, Doc, you really need to get over the cell phone neglection here. You are living in the Stone Age. You are denying what is the natural...
You see, I hear stuff like this all the time. Whenever I go to a convention, a lot of my YouTuber friends will demand, hey, you need to have a cell phone. And I keep trying to tell people, I really don't want one. And my family are very insistent too. I mean, I've lost count of how many times they have sat me down and tried to get me to have a cell phone of my own. Now, my wife has a cell phone, so it's not like we don't have a phone in our house, but I've never liked the idea of carrying a cell phone in my pocket or anywhere on my person everywhere I go. For starters, I don't like the idea that there is something in my pocket that demands my attention. Every time there's a call or a text or a YouTube notification or even a Facebook notification or what have you, there are so many ways that a cell phone can beep at you or vibrate at you or whatever else and demand your attention. And I personally need to be able to separate myself away from technology. I have my computer at home, I have my laptop for whenever I go traveling, but I want to be able to leave those behind and go out and be separated from technology. Because I can certainly keep up with my friends via Skype and Discord, and we chat rather frequently about anything and everything that might be on our minds, or planning for the future, or just having fun during Brony D&D sessions. I mean, there's no way I'd be able to play Brony D&D without my computer and the connections it allows me to have. So, a lot of people might think, well, why not just have a cell phone to do the same thing? I need to be able to step away from that. I need to be able to be by myself for times during the day, where nobody can reach me, where there's nothing demanding my attention, where I can just be alone, go out for a walk, or go out for a drive, go to work, without anyone or anything demanding my attention. Now, a lot of you may be thinking, well, why not just have a cell phone and put it on airplane mode most of the time, so that most people can't get a hold of you unless you switch that back on? It's a fair point, and yet at the same time, I still feel hesitant. Another reason why I don't want to have a cell phone is because I've seen how much cell phones seem to dominate people's time in the everyday. I mean, when I'm sitting down to dinner with a lot of other people, there's always a couple or even a few that will inevitably pull out their phones, not just because they're getting a call or a text or a notification, but also because they get bored and they want to scroll through Facebook or look at their messages or just whatever else have you. When you have this little phone in your pocket, it's incredibly easy to just pull it out and look at whatever you want, whenever you want, and wherever you want. And yeah, that is a little concerning to me. When I'm sitting down to dinner with friends, even friends that I haven't seen for months at a time, inevitably there's going to be times when one or two or even three pull out their phones and scroll through whatever they're looking at and look at messages or text chat with somebody, even though we haven't seen each other for months and we have a chance to talk face to face. Inevitably, there's always going to be moments where people pull out their phones. So I am worried about that. I am worried that if I have that piece of technology on my person, no matter where I go, would I end up the same way? Would I inevitably reach a point where if I feel the slightest hint of boredom, where there's the slightest pause in conversation, where I just pull out the phone and find instant gratification by looking at YouTube videos or looking at messages or scrolling through any number of websites. I don't know. That does worry me. It has become so prevalent in the modern world that we demand instant gratification. We don't want to be patient. We want what we want and we want it now. We can find instant answers to the most trivial of questions whenever we want. And so, putting aside the fact that having a cell phone on my person basically puts a device in my pocket that demands my attention at any time during the day for any number of reasons, and the fact that I am worried about how addictive looking at one's phone and having instant messaging no matter where you go, or being able to look up anything that you want whenever you want, I do feel the need to separate myself from technology. I suppose there is the slight advantage of not having to pay for a new phone every other year or every 3 years or what have you, and the fact that I don't have to pay for a monthly service fee. I mean, I'm sure over the past decade alone, not having a cell phone has saved thousands of dollars for me individually. And honestly, I can think of so many other better uses for those thousands of dollars over the years. There are plenty of circumstances where people tell me, you should have a phone because you never know, you run into an emergency and you need to contact someone. And yeah, that is a fair point. If my car broke down on the highway, how would I be able to contact someone? If I had become injured away from civilization, how would I expect anyone to be able to find me, to come help me? Or if there was an emergency with a close family member, how would anyone be able to tell me, need you to come to the hospital? There's all kinds of circumstances that make sense. If I didn't have a phone, people wouldn't be able to contact me when it maybe needed most. And yet, I still feel so hesitant to have that little device in my pocket. Even if it's not a smartphone, maybe if it's just one of those older dumb phones where you can only call or text, that's it. It would solve the issue of being able to pull out my phone and look at the internet for videos or messages or whatever else there is. But if I have a phone that has no connection to the internet, that I insist on turning off nearly all the time because I just can't stand the thought of a device in my pocket demanding my attention, I don't know if that's really worth it to me. It's hard for me to be able to take that step. But I'm sure there's all kinds of people who can come up with a myriad of reasons why I should have a cell phone, especially in this modern day and age. There are so many people out there who feel like they can't live without their cell phones nowadays. Maybe that's another reason why I don't want one. To feel like, well, now that I have it, I can't live without it. It's hard for me to take that step. I don't know if a lot of you out there can really relate to my reasoning here. I can't help but feel like I'm behind the times when practically everyone I know has their own phone. My friends and family will still harp on me every time we meet up. You should have a cell phone, Doc. You need one. There are all kinds of reasons why you should have one. And there are several reasons why I can understand why I should have one. It's hard for me to outweigh the negatives with the potential positives. I could be very wrong for thinking this way. There could someday be some set of circumstances where I desperately needed a phone and didn't have one. It's helpful to have that GPS on you whenever you're driving in another state and you have no idea where you're going. I'll always be thankful for that. But I don't know. I've just never been able to take that step to put such a device in my pocket and take it wherever I go. Someday that may change. Someday I may find more of a reason why I really need to have one. But for the past several years, and even till now, I haven't been able to convince myself I should have a cell phone. That may be hard for a lot of you to even hear because, yeah, it makes sense that quite a lot of people really just can't live without them. I'm just not one of them, I suppose. I'm just not one who thinks the same way, I suppose. But then, I'm sure all of you out there have all kinds of reasons why I probably should get a cell phone, and It's okay if you want to go down in the comments and tell me, yes, it is worth it. But I hope at least some of you understand why I've been so hesitant to take that step. Until next time, though, I am Dr. Wolf, and I look forward to hearing from you. Just not through a cell phone.